Hey.
All right, we're live.
We'll see if we stay live. We've got a whole crew today.
Yeah, I'm surprised the screen didn't just get ripped out.
That was very gentle. Good job, guys.
Yeah, this dog's like what, 140 pounds?
Dude, I don't even know. We stopped counting after he doubled in size in 30
days.
Yeah. Good job. Want to come up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, anyway, welcome.
Welcome to the show. Yeah, he's gonna join us, I guess, for the moment. Is there room? No.
You'll make room. Oh my gosh. All right, well,
I guess
without further ado.
Where's my water?
The whole crew. I don't know, but Ruby's just like waiting to get out of the doors.
Oh well. All right, I guess this is the show. We've spent a whole minute just getting adjusted. This is awesome.
This is so fucking funny.
This is Boomer. This is Mowgli.
Spence, and this is my co-host, Connor Borrego. And yeah, we've got Mowgli and Boomer just joining, apparently, the show after a good month of doing this point. Wild.
Right? It's not convenient at all.
I know, dude. Are you going to, like, hang... All right. Do you want to be like...
And then the water bottle shows up really, really nice to my leg. So magic. I'm sure it was in front of my face the whole time.
That's how that shit rolls, right? Welcome. We are on week 4, which feels probably more like week 1 with this whole shenanigan. But we're getting into our week of getting ready for the weekend at this point. I don't even know what fucking day it is, but
it's Thursday. It's another episode of Weekly Mojo with your host Madison Jessica.
That's right.
Introducing ourselves, you decided to dox ourselves and give out real names. Classic us.
Well, I mean, like literally, it takes a 2-second search to find who we are in like 5 other different profiles and capacities.
Yeah, no, we're easy to find. I get that.
It's really nobody's fucking looking anyway.
Right. Now, that being said, you're like, well, I try to keep my work name professional, and then we'll use my art name for my artwork and my degeneracy.
But when have I
my
said
real
Maddie
opinion?
J? I really
Well, I introduced you that way. Like that's where we fucked up. Yeah, I introduced.
Maddie J?
Well, no, Madison Jessica, but it's more or less the same persona. You're just like.
It just depends on, again, it depends on the day. It depends on the personality that comes through. Getting into, we've got a whole fucking show that we've got to get to at some point, including recommendations corner and the bad bitch behind you. Our persons of interest for today or for this week, Miss Jewel Ham. I cannot wait to share her story. So you can all be just as irate as I was when I heard this shit. Oh my God.
You can see that there's some big tech thematic imagery included in this canvas. I'm just gonna tease it because that's my favorite call out.
What 3 lines that seem somewhat like rainbow in nature with Shigo-esque colors would that be? I don't know. I guess we might get into that. And then for our deep dive of the day, that sounds like our deep dive of that day.
Hey, you know what I just realized? Their logo kind of looks like toxic radiation. Do you think that's why they chose the color green? Because they're poisoning you with their waves?
You can't say that because they talked about Bluetooth being able to control more than just your listening habits through Spotify. Did you see that?
No, what?
Okay, so AirPods, they're trying to get some sort of like Neuralink-esque, patent to basically control. Sorry, can we Google this? Because I am gonna blow the
I know
3,000-foot level of this.
I know.
Can I go any further?
I know a founder who's been pioneering the technology. Basically since I was in college. He was doing his PhD there, and he was in the startup incubator with me.
Are you gonna give out names, or are you scared that he's going to get offed by some higher other forces?
Well, I don't know. He's doing his thing for good, from my understanding. So I would, I'll share his stuff because I want to promote him and what he's up to because he's trying to read your brainwaves so that he can help, like return motor control and function to people, like to control robotic digits and hands for their stuff.
That makes sense. That kind of checks out. That sounds like some early research I'm doing with some like non-invasive ultrasound stuff.
So here's the company. It's called Neurable. And we can pull up the news about Apple because Apple, of course, is using it to like weaponize against their customers because it's not a Steve Jobs company anymore. They don't care about their customers. Anyways, that hot take, obviously, don't whatever.
I don't know much about Steve Jobs, but he set up quite a headless beast, so to speak.
It's got a very clear head these days, and it was the whole time. But
the Apple bite stuff, there's a lot of imagery in that. The more you get into it, so I'm like, I'm not gonna like sit here and suck the dick of.
I'm not. I'm just saying it's that much. I'm saying it's that much worse. At least he cared about making a product that the customer that was good for the customer, or at least the customer felt like it was good for them. Like the feeling of it being good, that would be much better than what we have now, which is just like opaquely bad, and people are still just brand loyal whores.
You're not wrong.
I hate that.
I think he is probably maybe a little bit more evil than. I don't know. It's really fucking tough to say. We can get into that on another day. But yeah, this Neurable, interesting.
So when I knew.
So who is this friend? I mean, can you share details?
Yeah. Friend is a strong term.
Acquaintance.
Yes.
It's tough to say. Like, yeah, what else do you say?
I'm friends with him on Facebook. So, what's the standard here?
I'm pretty sure I'm friends with, like, a UNL volleyball player. So, I hear you, but it's quite minimal.
There it is.
Nice.
I'm sorry for not knowing how to spell your name or not sure why that didn't come up in...
You know how people end up looking like their dogs in a lot of ways?
She looked like that before incredible. He had the dog.
But it's nice to find, you find your persons, right?
Yeah. He definitely, that's got to be where they bonded. But anyways, when I knew him,
very cool dude.
We were in a program called TechArb, which is just like this shared co-working space for like students with startups, and they kind of give you access to grant funding. So like completely different tiers.
Alcade, is that how you would pronounce his name?
Yes, that's as far as I remember. Yeah, Dr. Ramsey's Alcade also.
Very nice. Congratulations. PhD or MD, doesn't matter. It's a hell of a fucking feat to get through.
Yeah, he is a
Theo, shout out.
Yeah, neuroscience
cool.
Kind of makes sense. But when he was in TechArb, what he was working on, what he showed me is like you could like attach your brain and drive like a car with it.
TechArb.
Like not a car. So that was the co-working space at U of M that I was in at one point for some other startup idea I had at some point. Classic.
Was that when you were doing fence stuff, or was that like different?
I guess technically yes. So yeah, I was in the entrepreneurs program.
Yeah, if you want to get into it, shout out to the University of Michigan. Very much appreciate you guys sending us a gift.
Oh yeah, the Center for Entrepreneurship, dope.
Absolutely.
School of Engineering.
Guest lecture back anytime. Thank you for having us once again.
Yeah.
But continue on.
Yeah, so like I just have a lot of affinity for that department, clearly, and for good reason. We've had great experiences talking with the students, and obviously I was a student there at one point, so was Ramsey's. But it's this whole external partnership with it started with the engineering school because they didn't really support those students who had business ideas in terms of how do you take that to market. The business school is very separate from everything. Mm-hmm. Also, business people don't know how to do startups, so don't trust anything they say anyways.
Now, why would you say that? What's that high level?
Well, the same reason you wouldn't trust an academic to do something.
Just anything?
Yeah, I mean, anyone who doesn't apply their trade, I find it very rare when
Those
an
who
academic
can't do teach, you know?
Yeah.
I think that is the general gist of how that
Right,
works
and
out.
some people just know that they're good at teaching and go straight for it and might actually be good at doing, but unless they go do, like, don't talk to the people who do like they know.
Speaking of people
That's all I'm
that
gonna
do,
say.
can you give me your recommendations corner outside of our really cool little side story? Because I'd love to hear how that book finished up for you. Not the lessons in chemistry that I'm still reading, but your book that you just wrapped up from our friends in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And also a professor of University of Michigan, which is
Okay. That means that
circle.
he shares my perspective. This whole book is basically about sharing that perspective. So great segue, from that perspective.
Right. It worked out the way that it did. So do you want to tell me a little bit more about the book, Grind?
Yeah. So Michael J. Fall. Yes, Michael J. McFall. I'm so bad at being live. Let's just be real about it. Plus, names are always the thing that I fucking butcher.
There's so much to get into,
So, Grind by Michael J. McFall. I want to get that right. Anyways, it is a no bullshit approach to take your business from concept to cash flow. And I think that subtitle is just perfect. It encapsulates the whole book right there. Mike just gives it to you straight. He tells you in very direct terms, no blunt terms, that unless you're willing to be dedicated and disciplined to something that's not going to show results at times for weeks, months, maybe even years at a time, then you should not go into entrepreneurship. It's just not for you. That's the resilient.
You gotta have tenacity, otherwise that shit just doesn't go.
He says you need to grind, and you do. You need to grind through the startup phase to get to the other side. And even when you get to the other side of the startup phase, you still have to scale up. Then you have to scale out. And once you've done those things as an entrepreneur, then technically you can rest. And his whole point is it's a 7 to 10 year timeline on average for real. And that is true for successful startups. The exit timeline is north of 7 years.
Interesting. 7 to 10 years. I feel like that was Chapel Roan's overnight story everyone keeps talking about. Speaking of, oh my god, shout out to Minnesota. I was just at one of my favorite renewals of a Bad Bitch Queen Herbie concert. Holy shit, how did I not know that she was Carmen from 2012? Not to say that holy fucking iteration. So cool. What a super show. I'm gonna tear up because it was such a cast and a half. What a spectrum of individuals in Minneapolis. What a very fun show to be a part of.
Absolutely.
And thank God for my family because I wouldn't be there without them. It was so fun to hang out with all of my sisters, and Tyler and Hannah and Yark were able to make a last minute special appearance. So
yeah.
It was so fucking cool. Anyway, oh my God, Queen Herbie, please, for the love of God, come to Kansas City. I need you.
Yeah, I mean, I would go to the show. Queen Herbie has some anthems. I'll say that.
Oh, literally, I couldn't. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I was interrupting.
No, you can go ahead. It's not really my space.
I excitedly spewing. Olivia was telling me that we were walking home from the concert, just riding that high, and she goes, "Thank you for pulling me out, or just being a little out there, because I feel like you pull us out of our comfort zone." And it was just, she's like, "Now I feel like a bad bitch." And I was like, "You are a fucking bad bitch." And I'm so fortunate to be surrounded by so many bad bitches and supporters of them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know if I can follow up with that at all, other than to say that it sounds like, in terms of recommendations this week, you should absolutely look into Queen Herbie, number one.
Great
and
call out.
Spotify, which is probably where most of us listens, is the tie-in this week.
Hell yeah.
Because we're stretching it. And as the other recommendation, it is Grind by Michael J. McFall. And I couldn't more highly endorse this because the perspective of this, and again, he's the CEO and founder of Big B Coffee. if you're from the Midwest, and I don't know how far out their national brand at this point,
you know, or flavor your fuel.
Yeah, well, I said larger than life flavor is what I'm pitching. But either way,
the thing that gets me up in the morning, and it was a nice little surprise in Michigan. I'd never known Big B coffee before. I was a Scooters girl growing up in Nebraska.
It feels like they're probably somewhat similar.
For sure.
Like
little
they're
regional gems.
Absolutely. And
fuck Starbucks.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And I know from this book that mentality is for sure embraced. And they took a completely different approach to making their coffees, too. They wanted you to enjoy the flavor. And so it's less about the bean and the roasting and more about turning it into a caffeinated, delicious treat. And that's their perspective.
Gorgeous.
It's Big B Coffee.
Hopefully coming to a little city near you.
Yeah, so I guess recommendation for a coffee franchise, a book, and a musical artist.
For sure. And then now getting into another bad bitch.
Of history, but modern history. Classic.
Yeah, of modern history. So I think to date, every single one of my girlies has since deceased. So like their history doesn't get to be shared. And so I've kind of spread out my journey into other bad bitches that are present day because they also deserve the I mean, who wants to be a starving artist and make money when you're dead, right? Like these bad bitches deserve their comeuppance and everything that they've worked so very hard for right off the bat. So Jewel Ham came across my feed, I believe, probably through Instagram, because if it's not a murder podcast, it's definitely through only doom scrolling on Instagram reels. And unfortunately, I don't know what creator tagged her. I'm going to get better about doing that. But she is one of Spotify's interns that you know her from literally the only fucking reason why we enjoy Spotify around Christmas time, other than Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. But let's be real, we're looking to shoot our brains out by the end of this point, and when Spotify Wrapped comes up. So, without further ado, I'm going to say that's all from me, folks. And that's a wrap on my little short spiel. I'd love to see what ChatGPT and Connor has for us set up in here on Miss Jewel Ham, who was a Spotify intern that essentially got her work entirely stolen, and she got let go from the giant corporation. Tale as old as time, but I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Still, again, we're still doing this? We're not giving creators their deserved piece?
If they really wanted to give her deserved piece in the way that's kind of normal for interns in that environment, you want to retain talent.
Right.
As someone who runs a company, you want to retain talent. You've got a record-breaking idea, a mind-shattering idea. It's probably not a one-off. She probably is very good at observing users and customers, because she was able to come to this and draw so many succinct ideas into this cool feature, right? It's a feature, but that feature has drawn so much publicity for Spotify that it's worth probably millions, maybe billions of dollars to them, right? And you don't always get the full value of what you create. Often you don't. Like if you look everywhere in business, people get ripped off constantly. It's the people that have more money and more leverage rip off people because they can handle it. They have got the better end of the deal because they can outpay for your idea. Ideas are nothing. It's all about execution. That's the going saying.
Maybe that was why they were the first time they were in the red, was when they simultaneously got rid of 20% of their workforce.
Anyways, I don't know why you wouldn't want to just retain this intern or convince her to drop out of school and come work for you full time
or whatever.
But the normal thing to do in this scenario is get her a salaried contract in the product department, and then give her some equity to incentivize her to stay and continue to work and produce more ideas and make that feature a product even better, yada yada.
Jewel, if you're listening, please, for the love of God, we would love to collaborate with you in whatever way, shape, or form, because you're a bad bitch and you've got some dope ass talent. I'm sure you are not a one-off.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would love to hear what ChatGPT said about this baddie who I
want to clarify,
across
something
reels.
that's probably worth hundreds of millions to billions of dollars is not a one-off.
Absolutely.
I was just saying, like, from the perspective of the CEO, that's the dismissive perspective that they're taking to the scenario, you know?
Thank you for calling that out. I agree. But that's exactly right. It's the you're just a number mental space that a lot of gatekeepers tend to take, and I'm not sure what that is other than just really just mediocrity and insecurity.
Smart people are everywhere if you have enough money.
I mean, like, why aren't you putting them in positions of power and authority?
They don't know how to tell smart people from smooth talking people.
Are you okay? Then that means that they don't really understand what's going on, and
yeah,
get back to they're just gatekeepers.
Well, right, but they have the money and the leverage, so that's why they're gatekeepers.
The leverage, and I'm like, oh my god,
the leverage is the money or the connection, or
oh, it's so gross.
No, it's where they know someone or they have the money.
Well,
so
that's of everything.
Yeah, it's classic stuff. Anyway, so for Jewel, because she's modern, I didn't know what ChatGPT was going to have on her, and so I did a lot more leading with ChatGPT to make sure we got something good.
Okay.
So I said Jewel Ham was an intern from Spotify who wasn't credited with her contributions to the Spotify rap feature. Can you tell her origin story and any updates you know about / can find out on her? And then in a separate section, can you write a redemption arc for her to come back as the queen of the music industry moving forward?
Hell yeah.
Because, why not?
Fuck yeah. Do it.
You know, she doesn't have an ending, but let's give her something fun if she doesn't have something already that she's shooting for.
Right.
So, you know, not to intrude on your story, do whatever you want, of course. This is just ChatGPT. Jewel Ham started her journey as an intern at Spotify, where she worked on various projects. I'm sure she didn't start her journey there, guys, just for what it's worth.
Yeah, let's be fucking real. This bitch has been doing this for time and time again. Keep going.
Well,
as far as website creation this is her origin story. Ugh.
Well, sure. I mean, I'm just meant like she probably had a few other interests or other things she kind of half did or whatever did along the way. That
like everything, this was probably like the big break is what this website seemingly feels like.
Yeah, I mean, like I just meant like she's just an intern. She's in college. She's still young.
Please reach out. Correct us if we're wrong. Yeah. Come on the show.
Right.
Would love to give this to you.
One of her significant contributions was to the development of the Spotify Wrapped feature. Spotify Wrapped is beloved and annual tradition that provides users with personalized year-end review of their listening habits, including top songs, artists, genres, and minutes listened. Despite her substantial contributions, Jewel was not credited for her work on this feature, sparking discussions about recognition and fairness in the tech and music industry.
Huh.
As of the latest updates, Jewel Ham has continued to advocate for transparency and proper acknowledgement in the workplace. Her stories inspire many, especially within the tech and music industries, to push for better recognition of interns, junior employees who often play crucial roles in major projects.
Tech and music baddie of fucking course.
Yeah. And, honestly, it's basically giving employees ownership in the company, which is something
that's how you would rectify that situation.
Yeah,
in your perspective,
right? And so like a lot of companies offer stock. Like I got signed on stock when I went to Google. You did at J&J, and
no, I didn't get Google or J&J stock until I got Spotify or the Spotlight a year thing.
Well, so but they
did not pay out anything.
Well,
Aquinas did though, and then my current company
startup.
So but Google was not a startup,
anyway. Right? So and maybe it's because of the position I came in, because I didn't come in entry level. But the main point is they wanted to retain you, so they gave you stock ownership, or they gave you stock options and equity that would best.
Yeah, stock options.
Right.
Over a 5-year period.
Yeah. So,
but only saw me as 1% talent in a increase in salary. So I don't know what else to say other than thank you, Acutus, for doubling my value.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. At the same time, cool. I'm not sure where to go with
I
that.
know. It was just like, it was a cool experience and everything has to happen for a reason. Appreciate my time for what it was and would continue to iterate in how it has to go. But ultimately, I was locked in on a rookie contract. And like most of us, we don't necessarily always find.
That's just how it goes. That's how business is. I'm saying, like, that's normal. Like,
I'm like, but
if you don't want this to happen to you, don't work for another company.
Do you retain talent? Yes or no? Because you're saying you would like to.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's this naivety that's out there about what happens when you work for a company. It's like, don't be naive. Like, the problem is lack of education. We need to make sure everyone knows not to put yourself in that situation. There's very little you can do to protect yourself because
most of us
at the end of the day, it gets back to the comment about leverage. And in business, it's all about using leverage against the person you're negotiating with, because that's business.
Leverage when it's your literal first.
I know, that's what you're saying. You don't have any, and that's the basis of business.
So that's how people
in the
industry get hurt.
Right.
Like,
so
like shit, you could
so
get into the quiet on set scene, documentary, like that's just tip of the iceberg stuff. You know?
I know, it's par for the course in business. It's par for the course everywhere. You often have to pay a lot more to get very little to keep going. If you go the traditional path. If you go the non-traditional paths, then you can build your own thing outside of that system and not pay those fees.
They kill you in the process, but
that's not. Yes, that happens with like a very rare subsection of specific people researching technology.
Probably.
Yeah. What?
Tupac? He was killed.
I mean, probably.
And probably because he was.
Well, you're talking about like the 0.01% of people who are at the very top of their industry.
Sure, I'm not saying that there are plenty of people that didn't get murdered on their way up that way, like Aaliyah and a bunch of other people. Marilyn Monroe, also, she was like at the top, but she was gonna continue to get better because she's in her 20s, and Jesus Christ. Contrary to larger belief, women continue to evolve past 20s.
Well, see, I was talking about this in the context of someone who's a product manager at a software company,
Sure,
but she's like intern, not even that. She's an intern in the product department.
That's a rookie role.
And you're never ever in any world gonna get the credit for doing anything in that role.
Which is
it's
just really,
like that.
Well,
they're giving you because they're putting their name on your resume, which you're going to use to go somewhere else the next year. And that's the deal.
Unless you retain the talent you think you deserve.
Right, but they don't know that beforehand. So the contract you sign beforehand means they own everything. And they have a legal obligation to their shareholders to not change that.
I would love to know what this baddie is up to now that she has moved forward. Like, I know she's advocating for, but can I get that redemption arc?
Yeah, well, this isn't what she's actually doing, but this is what ChatGPT wrote for a story. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4.
Holy shit.
Epilogue.
That's a lot.
So, do you want to read it?
I'd like to know what she's doing now. Can we just, get a Google? I also I love that your name is Ham. It really just gives me the Danny DeVito with Ham. Some of the best work It's Always Sunny has ever done is with Danny DeVito and Ham. Do you disagree?
What?
Some of the best work that It's Always Sunny does is with Danny DeVito and or with Ham. It's Always Sunny and Danny DeVito.
Rum Ham?
Right. That's what Jewel Ham. That's where my head went.
To Rum Ham?
Yeah. Well, it's not just specifically Rum Ham, but it's with Danny DeVito holding Rum Ham and the Sia hair. I'm gonna need you to pull this up too. And it must be from the art exhibit episode. That's what I'm thinking it is.
Yeah, him eating the ham.
Or just having it with him. I don't know if he fucking was eating it, but it's Danny DeVito, white wig, ham. It's probably the best way to pull that up. Just core memories of. It's him, but he's got a I guess I Nelson Mandela affected myself with the hair of the sepia. But I just Danny DeVito with that ham is incredible.
Okay.
I can do that as an oil painting.
I doubted ChatGPT and it did better work. So
okay, all right, cool. What's that next iteration?
Yeah, so I said, "Are we sure this is the right person?" I misspelled her name. It's Jewel Ham, and then it searched into 3 sites before it responded.
Nice.
So it says Jewel Ham's origin story and contributions. Jewel Ham was a design intern at Spotify in 2019 when she was a senior at Howard University. This is already infinitely better.
Yeah.
So glad we did this.
Mm-hmm.
During her internship, she conceptualized an idea to transform the Spotify Wrap feature into an interactive, shareable story format, so extending the existing product. Before her contribution, Spotify Wrapped was more of a static experience delivered as an email and a playlist to users. So no user engagement is what I'm hearing.
Right.
Jewel's idea to make it dynamic, social media friendly feature was well received during her final presentation at Spotify. Yep, I've done one of these for my internship at a car supplier, but this is obviously way cooler. You're at Spotify. Although she was not retained to see the project through, her internship ended.
Why? Did they say why?
Well, it depends. Like, if she was not a senior and she wasn't graduated, it's that. Like, I disagree with that perspective.
She is a senior at the college.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. Sorry.
No, I know. I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're just going to take her idea and run, is what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Confirming that that's what that was. Because she literally, for all intents and purposes, she didn't even fucking get paid for any of the work. She gave you all of that free.
Well, okay. Well,
that's fucked. And you're not even going to get her, like, a position on any sort of anything?
Right. It could be so here's, let me break down what I think is happening here, right?
Do your thing, honey.
It's a great idea, right?
Incredible. Again.
In hindsight, you don't get the numbers until after December, right? Because Spotify Wrap starts coming out in November, December, right? So all I'm saying is they have to make the decision to hire her in August. They don't know anything about her work until 3 months later. But the moment that it's a, blatant success in December,
why the fuck wouldn't you hire her back?
Right, 100%. But had she not been hired back, like, in advance, like, did she not get hired back, then the campaign run, and, then she was pissed off about how successful the campaign evidently was, but instead of going back to them because she'd already been rejected, she took it to media directly.
I counter with, what if she was graduating in December, and what if this was presented in, like, November? So
again, we don't know the story.
Right.
I'm just trying to help people understand the perspective of the business that's leading to this decision.
Say in your story, would love to not speak for you.
I want to demystify why these outcomes happen so people cannot be blindsided by them and find ways to take advantage and capitalize on them better in the future if there's an opportunity to do so.
To collaborate with further, absolutely. Why would you not want that?
Yeah.
So, in December of 2020,
she took to Twitter to claim credit for her contributions, stating that the popular interaction version of Spotify Wrap, which had since become a hallmark of the platform, was her idea.
Good for you for calling out what is your work.
Her tweets drew significant attention. Yeah, I mean, like, you got to. That's your portfolio.
Right.
Her tweets drew significant attention and sparked a conversation about the recognition and value of creative contributions from interns and junior employees in corporate settings. Spotify, however, disputed Jewel's claims, asserting that Wrapped had been a collaborative effort since its inception in 2013, with many employees contributing to... Yeah, But the point is, Spotify, that her feature suggestion is night and day the difference between the
Why you
engagement on
fucking
that.
up revenue for the first time since 2013? Like, that's so dumbfounding.
Is that
accurate.
really true?
Yes, Google when they finally made money, because it was either 2022 or 2023. Like, it was very recent. And they only continue to make money. I'm like, they're not paying their artists anything. They continue to like screw over their streaming content unless they are a part of some premium thing that they get pushed because their publishers or whatever their production team is a part of. Like, it's just some fucking money laundering thing because they're just eating from the same media corporations that have been hurting artists since the beginning of fucking time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Spotify profitability. Like, and also just in the backdrop of like content is cheap. Yeah, okay. And delivery is cheap too. Infrastructure around delivery. Code is cheap.
Thousands of dollars to advertise to fucking eyes. Like, shut the fuck up. You're extorting. You're extorting. Just like, that's all I have to say. You're just taking everything from others and choosing not to give back into trickle down economics and shit like that. Profitability history for the last 10 years for Spotify. Okay. Literally fucking. I'm so sorry for this, but they literally called that shit. She did it. I mean, granted, it's like statistical significance.
Here's
like,
the
look at that fucking like turnaround.
There are two other upticks, is all I've got to say about this. One,
first time it wasn't
the decline,
negative. First time it wasn't negative was when she came out with 2020 with the Spotify Wrapped user interface. That is what that data says, and you can go in further because I know that that's not. From like a larger business standpoint, I know that it takes that 7 to 10 years, like Mike was describing, right? And that's largely what that looks like. But
improve
ultimately,
3%,
like,
improve 7%, improve 3%, improve 3%,
3.5%,
improve 3%, improve 2%.
Again, what I would look at is what's that difference between that and that, because that looks like 4.5, and I would
negative
say that
2 to positive 1 is 3, but like
negative 2.5,
2.25, negative, but like doesn't matter. Semantics. Right. Main point here is 3. Like, yes, but the trend is they're getting more
contributing to 27% of 0.27% of that. If you're saying that it's 3% year over year growth,
I'm saying, look, it's negative 17 margin here, negative 14 margin here, negative 12. You can see the trend of the margin closing over time predates that, and it doesn't necessarily deviate significantly. That being said, you're 100%, but the other, I would say, conflating factor is what year is that? And what do we know about streaming platforms starting in that year? And then on top of it, that is also the year that they launched the bundle partnership with Disney and Hulu. So there are confounding factors here.
Give credit where credit is fucking due. I mean, like, even if she doesn't contribute to that bottom dollar and I can't put it there because correlation, not causation.
I'm just saying, like,
fucking fine. She literally, like, that is the only relevancy that Spotify has to date other than, like, radio.
I'll say this, Spotify Wrapped was not relevant before 2020.
It's fucking that.
That's super apparent and obvious. So, like, the engagement that got and the brand awareness is not insignificant. I cannot quantify what her impact was because I also know those other facts. That's all I'm sharing.
All right, give me that back. Last little bit.
Yeah, here's her redemption arc, right? Because, yeah, it doesn't really have updates about her. It says redemption arc. Following her revelations on social media, Jewel faced a period of disillusionment with the corporate world. Who wouldn't? Great. Go start a business. I support that. She found herself questioning the value placed on creativity and the recognition of young talents. Despite the controversy, Jewel used this period to reflect on her career and passion for music and technology. She felt a deep need to assert her place in the industry and ensure the future creative voices would be heard and respected. Determined to turn her experience into something positive, Jewel decided to start her own venture. Yes, thank you, ChatGPT. Sorry, I love when the advocacy for what I want happens.
Trust a bad bitch to do her own shit.
Yeah, I mean, she's gonna do whatever she wants, but anyways. She launched Ecosphere, a platform designed to provide independent artists with the tools to create and share and monetize interactive music experiences, much like the vision she had for Spotify Rap. It sounds like Snob.
Playhaus and Snob, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Great minds think alike.
For sure. I mean, like, it sounds like she had it. I'm sure she had it well in advance of me also. That being said, Ecosphere quickly gained track. I would like to support that if you want to build it, is all I'm trying to say. Yeah. I would market the fuck out of it. Ecosphere quickly gained traction, offering artists the ability to create personalized, interactive content for their fans, leveraging AI and immersive storytelling techniques. Jewel's platform allowed artists to gain insight in their fan base preferences, provide more engaging and interactive experience. Jewel's vision resonated with the music community, especially among those who felt sidelined by mainstream platforms. That's interesting. What if artists themselves interacted with an AI version of themselves to produce their more artwork and then use that as rough drafts to produce new pieces? And steal segments from like AI
to help with writer's block and stuff.
Yeah, because you could use it to like generate ideas and then take those ideas and compose it into real composition.
More or less can do that now. You could just
no, that's what I'm saying.
Better, yeah.
I mean, but most people don't know how to do that now. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe that's so like that's what you and Rich can go through and Yumi and ChatGPT and how you would help an artist get through writer's block.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we would want to build some system more like this, because, like, that's how I would do it, because I wouldn't want to, like, I don't think anything I would be doing with the writer's block and an LLM, like, on the simple terms of what I can do right now by myself would be anything meaningful.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I wouldn't want to waste people's time. Like, I could show you how to do stuff with an LLM, but I don't know how practical or useful it really is. It's just another abstraction of how you could use it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, this version where it's like real audio would be way better, and it's mostly like what's the name of it? It's not Perplexity. There's an AI company out there that basically does voice reproduction, and basically that's who you'd want to be looking into. It's like they take a bunch of samples of your music, of your recordings, and then they produce an interactive version of your musical sound to interact with. You supply it your own lyrics. And then, then you could play with an LLM. Oh, Synesthesia. I think that's the one that I'm thinking of that does the music stuff. I think they do video also. But that's the workflow, generally speaking. I think this product version of it would way better. The way it's describing it sounds like the fans are going to make music for the artist, and then the artist is going to curate from that music. And sure, maybe, but it's also a tool for the artists to produce their own music by working with a digital version of themselves as a partner, which I think is a great kind of cool concept in a way.
Digital twins.
Yep. How many of those ideas are out there?
Oh my God, there's so many in heart space right now. I can't imagine that it's not transcending every fucking where else.
I have one in 30 minutes for the CPG space.
You gotta get your shit going.
Yeah. The apex of this. The industry recognition. As Ecosphere grew, Jewel's innovative approach began to attract attention from major industry players. Her work was featured in several high-profile tech and music. She's invited to speak at conferences about the intersection of music and technology. Her platform success and advocacy for the recognition of creative talents led her to be named one of the top innovators in music tech. This is all very fanciful stuff. I like ChatGPT's vision. I'm like, there is no top innovators in music tech award, though. I'm sure there is somewhere, but like, it's very.
This is just a revisioning. This is a re-archetyping for.
Oh yeah, this is her future that it's picturing, right? Her redemption arc.
Ecosphere isn't a real fucking thing.
No.
Oh my God, fuck me.
Right, but it's suggesting to make something like Snob that's called Echosphere if you're Jewel, and you know.
I am sure she is doing her own thing. Girl, I feel like I have butchered the first fucking person that is like really still alive
Here
and
she
doing
is.
her own thing. And is not like, able to rewrite her own fucking history. So again, if you would get your art,
Here.
gorgeous.
We'll just end the content on her actual profile and spotlight her.
There you go.
You know?
Would love to hear your 2 cents. And
here's what she wrote about herself if you want.
$1 million investment on. Go for it.
I am a multidisciplinary visual artist, curator, and social practitioner, utilizing my creative practices as a means of reparation. With careful attention to the unapologetic wit and innovation inherent to the Black interior, I approach both narrative portrayal and community engagement as an active resistance.
Hell yeah.
I am a summa cum laude fine arts graduate from Howard University with interest in reimagining liberation, particularly through lenses of wellness and embodiment. As a Taurus, my creative process is largely influenced by interests in aesthetics, pleasure, and sensuality. I have had...
Is that an earth sign?
Yeah.
I love it. Love a fellow earth sign.
I've had 4 solo exhibitions to date, all taking place in Black historical places. In the last year alone, my solo exhibit, I Said What I Said, was held at Stony Island Arts Bank, an archival library museum reimagined by Theister Gates, while my solo exhibition, Keep It Cute, was held at Sierra Britain Gallery, the first all-women, how do you say women without the men part? Color gallery in New York City. My artwork has formerly appeared in a variety of group shows and publications worldwide, and was most recently featured at Art Basel Miami with Jeffrey Deitch.
That's so cool. What year?
Yeah, I'm curious. So let's look up what she did.
I don't know. Woman. Well, like M-U-N. I feel like woman.
It had an X, so I didn't know how to say it.
Yeah, that's fine. Like woman. It's basically like gender or I don't know. I fucking love that. I don't know how to say it other than that makes sense.
I think this is her Art Basel piece.
Oh,
or series of pieces.
Yes. Okay. So actually, this is where I pulled the inspiration for your piece or for her.
For the canvas.
Yeah. I loved her
really
energy in this was just so much more empowered and in
so I guess we're going back to our recommendation section, our art section, and saying we're adding another recommendation for Jewel Ham art. Yeah. So Jewel Ham art, I think we passed by her Instagram a moment ago, but this is really cool stuff. It's that euphoria thing. It's the high contrast, like vaporwave color vibes that are being overlaid over the imagery. It evokes like a darker emotion. It's like hypersaturation.
I love it. Yeah, it's less euphoria and like Taylor Swift purple, but more like I hear you. It's like leading into that 70s mud and like hypersaturation. It's gorgeous. Yeah. It's some of the like.
I mean, because like this yellow saturation is obviously not that, but like
so very vibrant.
Right. It's bright while being dark. Mm-hmm. It's very like, and not dark in a negative sense, just dark in a literal sense, I would say.
I fucking love this big wild one. And also, she is gorgeous.
Very,
very.
So, anyways, cool. Here we'll pull up her Instagram since she's whatever Jewel, and we'll give her a follow here. Whatever Jewel. So yeah. Anyways, not like anyways, but that's the real Jewel Ham. I wonder if she did NFTs. What year was this?
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2022. It would have been in the NFT craze. It would be cool. Let's see if Jewel Ham NFT pulls up anything. If not, you should look into NFTs because your whole mission around helping like give attribution at the very least to the people that create stuff would be, another use case for NFTs, because the intellectual property breadcrumb trail would lead those documents back to you in a public audit.
Are you telling me?
Yeah, I'm telling you that on behalf of
Because,
Jewel. We're still live.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like, we would love to set up any artist that's already doing their art in physicals and get it into the digital realm in order to have that like proof of certificate of authenticity, and that just being a barcode on whatever blockchain that you think your utility of choice should be. Ours is Solana.
Yeah. We think it's the green blockchain, and we think it's...
Or Soul Seekers.
Yeah. We think it's the one to onboard the masses, that it's the maturest and most battle-tested for the moment. We need more validators to scale up with people, that's for sure. But, Paul and I are working on that with, hopefully, KU.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the legacy is the Jules Ham journey from unaccredited intern to a leading figure in music technology became a story of perseverance and innovation. She was not only reclaimed her narrative, but also paved the way for countless other creatives to gain recognition and respect in the industry.
I really hope that's the truth.
I think she's just focused on art at the moment.
Her own fucking energy, and I just really love where she's at and where she's taken a lot of shit she's had to deal with.
Yeah.
You're a victim or you're a survivor, and she's paving her
channeling
it
into her art, and it's wonderful, and respect the hell out of it.
It's cool.
At the same time, partnering with artists is a great way to still distribute music technology, and your personal attachment to the music technology industry would make the partnership that much stronger. And Snob was originally intended for visual artists, not musical artists.
True.
So she's the perfect ambassador for it, alongside you and the other people that we've talked with who could be great for
a lot of really cool creatives we'd love to collaborate with.
It's all about giving discovery and attribution back to the creator as best we can by creating a provenance breadcrumb trail for everything, right?
That's exactly right. All right, well, let's close this out on a close-up, because I'm just ready to we'll wrap her, because this is about to be a fucking wrap. Oh my god, how off is that goddamn camera that we've set up?
Oh, because it's slanting now?
I know, right?
Yeah. Hopefully by next week, you'll be able to see not only these episodes available on MadisonJessica.com, but all of these Bad Bitches of History so far available as NFT on probably Soulsea, but we'll see about Magic Eden. We'll see. I've never done it.
If you have a fucking opinion, let us know. If not, we'll figure it out.
100%. Until then.
Stay tuned.
It's been another episode of Weekly Mojo with your host, Madison Jessica, here on Playhaus TV. Be sure to like and subscribe for more.
Leave a comment if you dare.